The Movement number 7, written by Gail Simone, art by Freddie Williams II. So last issue, a lot of stuff happened, but the biggest things was that we got the reveal that that one main bad guy, I honestly cannot remember his name, and they don't say it again this entire issue. His son is the cornea killer, and also Mouse got attacked by a group of villains, and he might be dead. So, all in all, we open up here with that main villain guy talking to his son. And he's just like, son, hey, maybe stop with the whole killing thing. You have the ability to control the weather, but you also, cut out people's eyes. And that's really messed up, man. And this guy's, he's at least in his 30s, but he's talking to this guy like, Daddy, oh, I have to kill. After all, remember one time Mommy caught me doing something very naughty, and I had to kill her too, didn't I, Daddy? And he's like, yes, son. Yes, I suppose you did. That's why she had to go away. So that essentially goes on the back burner. We don't talk about that anymore. And we instead cut back to Mouse, who is being pulled down from the net he was strung up in by Tremor and Catharsis. And they're freaking out. It's just like, I don't, is he breathing? What do we do? Does someone call an ambulance? Someone call 911. So they point to some kids nearby saying, hey, call an ambulance. Catharsis pulls out a pocket knife, starts cutting down Mouse. And as she gets her down, Tremor calls up Virtue and says hey, Mouse is in a coma. He's barely breathing. We need you to come here now. And she's like, look, I can feel your emotions from a mile away. You're filled with compassion. I'm going to just follow you there. I'm just wrapping up this exorcism thing that we did last issue. So at that point, Burden gets untied. And by the way, there's a narration throughout this by Vengeance Moth that basically says her backstory. I'll get to it. But Virtue turns to Burden and is basically like, hey, we did it. You're free. You don't have a demon inside you anymore. And he's like, I can feel it. You're an angel. Thank you so much. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. Anyway, I gotta go. There's kind of an emergency. So she flies off and Burden's like, oh, a happy day. I don't have a demon in me anymore. So Vengeance Moth is in charge while she's gone and basically is making sure that nobody uses the tunnels and everything's kept safe. And we get the reveal here that Vengeance Moth, she's in a wheelchair because she has muscular dystrophy. She's 19 years old, and turns out she also is a recovering substance abuser. So a lot of stuff packed into one character. But the other thing is that she chose the name Vengeance Moth. Her actual name is, I don't know, it says it somewhere here, Drew Fisher. And nobody knows that about her. She's kept that to herself. She's just taken the name Vengeance Moth because she wants to start fresh. This is her new beginning. So we cut back to Virtue basically coming after, trying to find where Mouse and them are. Apparently 911 is going to take an hour to respond. And as Tremor is trying to comfort Mouse, Mouse basically sits up and in his own rat metaphors basically says hey, I really want to pet your fur if you know what I'm saying. And he's just like, okay, this is not the time or place. So Virtue arrives and gets both Catharsis and Tremor their suits so that they're able to fly Mouse to where he needs to be. And because Virtue came here directly from the cave where they're all kept, we see the gang that did this to Mouse actually laid this as a trap, and they're going to go and chase down Virtue and see where she came from. So then we get a bit weird. Burden comes up to Vengeance Moth and says, hey, I've been having some impure thoughts. And Vengeance Moth is like, oh God, this kid never got the sex talk. And Burden's like, I need you to perform another exorcist on me because I have these impure thoughts in my head and I cannot deal with these lusty demons. And Vengeance Moth is like, oh, we'll deal with that when Virtue gets back. So at that point, we see them basically going across town, trying to get Mouse to a hospital. Virtue calls in her favor with the police chief, basically saying, hey, we're going to drop this guy off the emergency room. No cops, please. That's all I'm asking. That's my tiny little, bargain I'm making with you. And we see the cops that were held up and were, the bad cop, whatever his name was. He is essentially trying to rally a cause. He's like, hey, we know where they are now. We got to hit them where it hurts. Let's go down there. Let's bash some skulls in. Let's take them out. And the other cop that was held there is basically like, dude, you know that's not the right thing to do. We shouldn't be doing that. Like, we need to stay here. It's what the captain needs. And the guy's like, hey, look, you're in, and by the way, I found the rich guy's name. It's Cannon. He's like, hey, you're in Cannon's pockets just as much as the rest of us. Are you really going to stand against your own brothers? And the good cop's like, no, that's not going to work on me. I'm not going to get out of your way anymore. So the bad cop basically says like, hey, I'm going to drop you if you don't move out of the way. And good cop takes off his hat and says, you know what? I never did like you. And it looks like they're getting ready to dance. So at this point, we see Vengeance Moth is being made aware that all their signals are getting jammed, and we see the evil crew or whatever are making their way down the tunnels. Turns out that because Tremor left in such a hurry, she didn't have time to close up the tunnels as she normally would, so she is essentially leaving them wide open. Vengeance Moth shows up saying, hey guys, don't come any closer or you're going to get your asses beat. Do you want a fruit snack? And they're just like, okay, we're going to beat the ever-loving crap out of her. And one of them is like, hey, she's in a wheelchair. That seems a bit not okay. And it's like, so screw it. Let's get her. So at that point, she gets out of her chair, uses her Vengeance Moth powers. It blinds her opponents, but one of the opponents is actually already blind, Monster Baby. So at that point, they're like, okay, new plan. Let's go ahead and beat her down. So she does put up a good fight. She does attack them and manages to hold them back pretty much the whole time. But she's hit pretty hard, and because of her muscular dystrophy, she gets worn out a little bit faster than other people normally would. So she's taken down, and she's out for the count. Meanwhile, Mouse does make it into an emergency room. The police chief meets up with Virtue and says, hey, I did what you said, didn't bring police. Also, on my end of things, I brought along this file for the Graveyard faction, which is the bad team that's been attacking them. Just going to accidentally leave it here if anyone happens to pick it up and read it, because this might be the only way they have a chance of defeating them. Oh well, goodbye. So at that point, Vengeance Moth, like I said, out for the count. Burden comes up, tries to save her, but of course he's just a normal kid now because his demon was exorcised. And as they are about, the Graveyard faction makes their way deeper into the facility, about to attack all the innocents on the inside. Vengeance Moth reveals to Burden, like, hey, we made it up. We didn't give you an exorcism. You still got that thing inside you. And right now it's our only chance at you being able to take this out. Okay? So please, you got to give in. And as they are about to attack a bunch of innocents, we see Burden goes full demon form. It's truly grotesque. And he says, hey, all, welcome to hell. It's a dense issue. So Mouse was brought to the ER. It's touch and go. He may or may not be okay. The police captain's working with Virtue. We see the good cop standing up to the bad cop. Got a whole bunch of moving parts here. I think this issue is actually pretty good. Comparatively, I think that I've had a harder time with other issues here because as much as I really like the ideas they're laying down, it does just feel a bit too spread thin, I guess is the way I'd say it. It's a bit too much, spread over too much there. This one, I think, almost gets there. It's almost spread too thin. And it would have been if we had gone back to the Cornea Killer and Canon again. But the fact that that was just like a single page at the very beginning and then we never went back to it, I think that this rest of the book did a good enough job of just focusing on like 2 or 3 plots, depending on how you count it, and they're all very centralized around this one specific area of where these people are and the emergency room. That's it. So all in all, I'm going to put this at a 6.5. Still not like crossing that good standard, but it is above average. It is a fine enough read. I don't regret reading it, but it's definitely not something that I look forward to. So yeah, 6.5.